And we're live.
And we are live. Did Jack send out the reminder for everybody? Oh, now I hear an echo.
All right, I'm gonna work on my mic. You can get started.
Yeah, you gotta like mute yourself or change your speakers or are people streaming? Are people paying attention out? I guess I can't ask you as you're muting, getting ready to get there. Let me make sure. I'm gonna send a quick chat to Jack to make sure that he sent everybody the reminder email to jump on. And if you're here, thanks for joining us as we get started a little bit more. And I'm sure that Jack probably did send the reminder webinar over because so many of you guys get to meet and talk with Jack all the time. So Curtis, everything working now on your speakers?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
it looks like we're starting
to get seeing the stream. I don't see the stream on the right from like all of the Facebook, YouTube stuff that we usually have.
Yeah, you click comments. Yeah, Cheryl commenting. She just showed up. Hey, Cheryl, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us on a Friday.
Dude, maybe I'm logged in on my wrong account. I can't see. It's like I'm not backstage, dude. We're just gonna have to work it. That means you're in full control. I can't see comments and questions, but if you can, then you're just gonna have to do a really good job at bringing those in now. But you're ready to rock, so you can see people on there. People are seeing it. People are viewing it.
Yeah, we've got some people showing up.
All right. Well, rather than me logging out and logging back in and trying to get it, we can just start jumping along. All right. So today we're doing a new webinar. Most of you guys out there that are watching and paying attention, should be part of our, some of our new users. Right, so Jack, some of you guys have been around for years and years, and we appreciate you. And Jack specifically reached out to the 400 or so of you that have just joined us since August. You believe that? That many people have come and signed up since August. We have a lot of new users that are buying full foreclosure lists. We just launched this cool new product, which is our free trial, which absolutely does have value. So the people that signed up for a free trial, they got to choose one county. And in that county, they got to see 20% of the list. And so when I show my screen some of that, you guys are going to see some of that on there too. But the real goal is that we want any of you, whether you have bought the list in one county, bought the list in 5 counties, or you're on a free trial, we want to show you guys how to take what you've done so far and come up with a plan, come up with a strategy. What are you going to use our pre-foreclosure list for? We'll talk a little bit about those different items that you have for that. And then also, how to get into action. We want you guys to choose a house today, to get into action this weekend, to see some of the feedback that happens when you start getting into action in that process. We want to take you all the way up through the next auction that maybe you've had a conversation with somebody about maybe trying to buy their house, right? That could be one of the goals that you happen over the next few weeks. It could just be that you go to auction and you see a house that you've been ready for go to sale. Even if you don't have money for the next auction or you're not ready for the next auction, we're going to show you guys how to go through, be ready for the auction, come up with your set of max bids. And then if nothing else, you'll get to go to auction and say, hey, I would have paid $150,000 for this one. Let's see if it goes to sale. Let's see if it sells. And if you do what we're telling you to do, we're hoping that when you go to auction, you're going to see at least one of your properties go to sale. As we get started too, a lot of you guys, depending on if you're seeing this live right now or if you're watching this as a recording next month or the month after, still valuable stuff, but right now as we record this, we're still in the middle of a moratorium, which means we're having about a third of the normal number of postings happen. A normal month, we're having maybe 5,000 or 6,000 postings in the state of Texas. Right now, we have 1,500 in the state of Texas. Hey, Curtis, can you hear me okay with everything?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, very good. So, hey, Curtis, anything you want to make sure that we hit before we start sharing our screen and go through it?
No, I mean, I think, one thing we're going to talk about today are kind of the 5 steps that we go through to get ready for the foreclosure auction. So today we're going to talk about the list. The list just came out this weekend or this week. So on Wednesday around midnight, our team finalized all of the tier 1 and tier 2. So that's our big counties and our rural counties in Texas for the October auction. And So we're excited to talk about that. We were excited to see that list come out. We had some counties, it seems like the posting count rebounded this month in some of our counties. Like Denton County had an off month last month where we only had 11 postings, and which is bizarre even for being the COVID time. And this month we've got 27. So we're seeing a little bit of an increase across the board. If you're signed up for our email list, though, you should have got an email from me last night that had some of our major counties and the stats there. So if you guys want information on posting counts or kind of what's going on, make sure you subscribe to our email list. Also, if you chat with us online, Jack would be happy to point you in the right direction.
Awesome. I was just going to pull up some of my screen as you go. So, and Curtis, I think when you're not talking, you're going to have to mute back and forth. I don't know why we're getting a little bit of feedback, but we're still getting it. So, we did a webinar. The first one was a couple months ago where we did this Choose Your Strategy webinar, but we also started with looking at some statistics. And so I just wanted to get an update. So last time we did this, it was May, and April sales were down a lot as we went through different places. So we could look at Austin, and this is just a chart. All these are available at the Real Estate Center, Texas A&M University. We love grabbing the statistics from there. So back in May, we could see that sales were down year over year for April. Sales were down year over year for April. Now we look at the statistics. So in April and May, these were year over year stats. Orange was 2018, purple was 2019, number of sales. So in Austin area, in May of 2018, there was nearly 4,000. In May of 2019, nearly 4,000 sales. But in 2020, you see that drop, and that went down to under 3,000 sales. And same thing happened for April. In June, it went back to kind of a normal growth, and then July went way up. But I think a lot of that was kind of just making up for lost time. When we had 1,000 sales short in April and May, it made sense that all of a sudden there was a big jump up in July, as the stats aren't out yet for August. I was going to pull up a few places for you guys really quick. The reason this stuff's important is I believe that as you're choosing your strategy, you also need to choose your neighborhood. Many of you guys, when you're first getting started, you are going to choose the neighborhood where you are, right? And right now it's a pretty hot real estate market just about everywhere. And so I would say that it's going to, you can't really go wrong. But as the market starts to change a little bit, as we hit the end of the year, we may see different stuff start to slow down. So one of the things we can look at is Dallas Fort Worth, a lot more sales in July. And then you can look and see how prices, have gone up or down since then. And now look at this on an annual basis. It's not showing huge changes from, it says 2018 was 320, 2019, 328. But right now we're seeing prices go way up. They scroll all the way down to the end. Oh, it's not going to show our 2020 months. I bet we're going to be up here right now for some of our sales. So looking at statistics is helpful for you to figure out where you should be investing or not. You get to see, again, sales prices going up and going down. The monthly, let's see what we say for monthly here for sales prices. So that column here, average price and median price. In Austin, in July, average price, median price, look at that, 447,000 was the average price, 350,000 was the median. You go back just to February, pre-COVID, 5 months earlier, average price 401,000, median 322. It's a 10% sales price increase in less than 6 months. Prices are 10% higher than they were 6 months ago. And if you go to a year ago, it was 396 and 317. They were like 15% higher year over year. So sales prices are going up. You can use this website to try to look at your county, look at your cities, make sure that you're going into places that are steady and solid. Another thing that I like to look at is this months of inventory number. And so here it'll say right now there's 1.7 months of inventory in Austin. Choose your county, look at it, see what your months of inventory look like. When you get up to 4 or 5 or 6 months of inventory, it's no longer a seller's market, it's a buyer's market. And there are some places like that out there in Texas where it is. So Abilene right now is at 2.7 months of inventory. Still would be a seller's market, but where were some of these that we looked at that was really showing that it was not a seller's market?
Laredo was one of those. I think Longmont, the other one.
Yeah. So here we got 4.4 months of inventory. This is for College Station. That gets into a buyer's market instead. That means it's going to take 4.5 months to sell all the houses on the market. So if you're trying to flip houses out there, not quite as strong. Laredo was the other one that Curtis mentioned. I think we saw some big trend changes. Yeah, look at that. So a year ago, we started investing out in Laredo. April 2019. Back then, there was 3.2 months of inventory. It looked like a pretty healthy market. 187,000 was our average price. Now you've got 7.8 months of inventory. As prices have gone up, in that same sort of period, you're like a 2-year period, prices have gone up almost, they've gone up 5% instead of 10%, right? So they haven't gone up as much in Laredo, and months of inventory at 7.8. That means it's going to take a long time to sell a house there. So if I was investing right now, I would not be looking at Laredo. So first part of choose your strategy is check out your market statistics. We shared some of them here, but you guys can also go to the Real Estate Center, Texas A&M. And we're thinking about coming up with a package too, where you guys can actually get the summary on the best places to invest kind of on a monthly basis. All right, now down to choose your strategy. Let's see what happens. If I hit present, to go full page, that look okay? All right, so now we've got here, it says, we've got 3 different categories. So and it says best chance during forbearance, we've said, is steps to buy before auction. So you can buy the houses before auction, talking about our pre-foreclosure list, and that's gonna be our column on the left side. The highest potential profit is buying at auction. So if you have a large cash investor or an investor, you're gonna be buying at auction. We also have auction financing now. And there's also what to do with our results, and as you're trying to come up with this. So again, choosing your strategy. So today, there's 2 specific strategies that we're going to break down as we go into how to use our list to do it. But I would say 1 is you buy the houses before auction, or 1 is you buy the houses after auction. We have all sorts of customers that use our list for other things too, for all sorts of leads and other businesses, but specifically today we're talking about buying the real estate. And so when you say during forbearance, the reason it's the best chance to buy right now is because pre-COVID, pre-forbearance, about 30% of the houses that we posted would go to sale. So if we posted 5,000 for sale, 1,500 of them would sell at auction. Right now, though, it's more like a 10% or 5%. So there's more postponements happening. People will get posted for sale, but they have more time. And for you guys that are going out and door knocking and trying to make the deals, that still helps you. People will say they don't need our list right now because there's less foreclosures. That's not true. You can still buy houses before auction, and because they keep postponing, if you do get in contact with a seller, you've got a better chance right now of actually getting the contract to go through and not be wasting. And just saying hi to everybody out there that's saying hi. Hi to Jack, hi Cheryl, hi Zach. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys get to learn a lot during this. So step 1 of buying before the auction. Now we're going to get into more detail using our software, but first you get the list. Next, you filter your list. That means you're going to try to find houses that match you and are what you really want. Next is outreach. You're going to go and you're going to take your filtered list and you're going to go through and try to find people that want that, that are trying to, as you filter that, you're going to say, hey, I want to buy houses under 50,000, under 100,000, is part of that filter. Then outreach is knocking on the door, leaving a door hanger, leaving a postcard. You could leave a yellow sticky note on the door saying, hey, come join us on there. Knocking door hangers, social, phone, letters. We're going to use PropPockets for our CRM. And then we have our step 5 is make the offer. So those first steps is just trying to get the owner to call you, to talk to you when you knock on the door, to be there. After you accomplish that, now it's about making the offer. So they say, yes, Aaron, I'm interested in selling my house. And part of that door knock, you're just saying, that could be using our software to say, hey, they owe $120,000 on the house and it's worth $180,000. So you're knocking on the door and say, hey, have you thought about selling before auction? You could say, I'm not going to be able to buy it for $80,000, but I could probably buy it for more than you owe, so you get to walk away with something. And so the goal of that is a win-win-win. Maybe you can buy it for $140,000, they make $20,000, you're going to end up doing some fix-up and sell it for $180,000. So that's part of making the offer list, offer to buy, offer to sell, the traditional financing or other stuff for the strategy. So let me change presentation mode for just a second. I just want to make sure Curtis was still there. As I was jumping in, everything working on your end? You hear me okay?
Yep, seeing and hearing you. Just keeping myself muted so we can.
All right.
We don't have the feed.
Cool. I will jump back in and keep on going. I just want to make sure that we were still ticking right along. All right, and then we have our highest potential to make profit is going to be actually buying at auction. So the first few steps are the same. You get the list, you filter, you do the outreach, you door knock, you do door hangers, you do postcards, and really you're trying to get information to buy it before the auction, but sometimes you're going to get to the house and it's vacant. Or sometimes you're going to, maybe you're almost making a deal with that homeowner and they change their mind at the last minute. That information is still going to be used when you go to auction. You want to track your pictures. You want to comp your sales prices so you can determine what your bid is going to be. You get checks before auction and you go to auction and you bid on it. There's other different sort of price steps in there, but a lot of it is just realizing that if you have the two other ways you decide if you're going to buy at auction or before. If you only have no money to invest, or $5,000 to invest, or $10,000 to invest, or $20,000 and you have a lender, then your biggest strategy is going to be buying a house before the auction. And that's those steps that we're going to talk about. If you have money to invest, or business partners, or someone that's going to invest in you, then you get to do step 2 also, which is buy at the auction. Curtis, what were we going to say?
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to add to that is that, if you do want to buy at the auction, you don't have as much cash to invest, and still auction financing might not be a thing for you yet. One thing you can also look at is tax foreclosures, right? So this is the end of the quarter of Q3. So a lot of our counties actually are having their quarterly auction. So like Bell County, for example, is having their tax sale this month. They've got 50 properties posted for foreclosure. Most of the time, those tax sales are going to go for much less than like something that would happen at the pre-foreclosure or the actual foreclosure auction with trustees, and you can get a better deal. Now, a lot of those postings are also going to be land and rundown or vacant houses, but it does give you a chance to buy at the auction and get some experience that way.
Yeah, and take it a little further. So tax foreclosures is somebody hasn't paid their taxes for a number of years. That goes to an auction. That auction sometimes happens right next to our foreclosure auctions, like our mortgage foreclosure auctions. But the sheriffs do that, or the constables. They're the guys with the badges are running that, or that auction. At the end, you might bid 20 or 30,000. Then what happens?
Yeah, so just like you said, it's the constables are running that. We also did a webinar a week ago where we talked about the sheriff's sale and how to invest in that. So if you're interested in buying at the sheriff's auction or tax foreclosures, I would encourage you to look at that webinar. It's on our Facebook and YouTube pages. But in general, the process is very similar, right? So for a trustee sale, somebody that hasn't paid their mortgage is going to get foreclosed on. And then the sheriff's sale, it's going to be somebody that hasn't paid their taxes. Now, the big difference is that when you buy a tax foreclosure, most of the time there's going to be a right of redemption on that property, especially if it's occupied, right? So if you buy something that's occupied, there's a cloud on title for 1 to 2 years. If it's not occupied, if it's not homesteaded, it's 6 months. So, and there's there's some little things to remember with that. But again, we covered that pretty in depth with our last auction or our last webinar. The cool thing about it is, and I think the great thing for a new investor is that you can get into it relatively cheap and you can still collect rent, right? So it doesn't mean you can't evict, you can't rent the property out. It just means there's a cloud on title and you won't be able to sell.
Yeah, it's a great different strategy, like Curtis said. Get that webinar if you're interested in tax sales. So really, if you have a limited amount of capital available, you're looking at tax foreclosure auctions, which we're not really going to go into how to underwrite those today. If you want to do that, go check out that other webinar. Or you're buying direct from somebody that hasn't been paying their mortgage before auction, and there's some different strategies with that. Or you're going to try to buy at auction. And the reason it costs less to buy it from someone before is because then there's a chance you could actually get a loan. You could, in theory, say, hey, you're scheduled for auction in 3 weeks. You owe $120. Let me buy it for $140. You would actually write a real estate contract. You would open up escrow with an escrow and title company. You would then go buy the house from them doing that, and you can get a loan, and you have to get the appraiser and everything else done in time, but that can happen. Or you can do a strategy where you help them catch up on their payments and you partner with them. You say, hey, I'm going to buy it for $140, but I don't have $140 right now. but you're only behind 8,000 on your payments. Let's write up a contract where I'm going to buy it for 140. I'm going to give you 8,000 now. As part of that, as a non-refundable something, you can take over their payments. You can then list it. You list it with them. There's a lot of different partnerships there, but those are those strategies at the beginning and the ways that you can buy it for less. Or you could actually tie it up and say, hey, I'll buy it from you for 140,000. You get the contract, and then you wholesale it. And what wholesaling means is then you go sell it to somebody else that does have the cash to buy it in the next 10 days. And we have members that do that. They send in the deals to us. We have a lot of you guys that are on our member list. We send them back out to you. And so somebody says, hey, here's something, do you guys want it? We'll send it back out so other people can say yes as well. So pretty awesome out there as different ways. So now I'm going to get ready to pull up our software to really show people, that have signed up and are getting into it. So let me go log in at our website to show people what they get. So if you guys have signed up for a free trial, but you haven't got the email confirmation yet, you need to go check in your email. So if somebody signs up for a free trial, it's going to send them an email to confirm that it's the real email address. We're going to have people just making up email addresses. After that, they click the email. They will automatically log in when they click that email, and then they get to come in and see our site. So now I'll go ahead and share the site. Now we're on our FLS site. I signed up for a free membership. And if you guys already have a paid membership, it's going to be the same format. You're going to come in here, but the difference, now we have people that say, hey, I don't want to see that survey anymore. It says, please take 30 seconds. I promise, it's 30 seconds. We ask you 8 questions. You click a button and you're done. It helps us to serve you better. All right, now if I hit search for the county of Travis, what I'm going to see is the ones I have access to. I've got access to 2, 4, 6, 7 deals, and that's 20%. That means there's like 35% on the list for Travis. So we can see here now, here's the properties that are there. It looks the same whether you have a free trial or a paid one. You're going to see some of the properties. And now I can click view all, and I can see the ones that I did pay for, or the ones that I got in my free trial here, Torres Street in Austin, Jester Boulevard, and we've got the information. It's built in 1997. It's a $57,000 loan. We believe there's 31,000 less on it. Tax value is 260,000. That's a big potential property right there. There's a big gap between what they own and what's there. So we get to see our list. If you're on the free trial, then I would encourage you to skip a step where we filter the list. We have the step where we filter the list and we say, hey, we want to see the ones that are our right price point, our right age. But if you have the free trial, you're not going to go through and filter your list. You can't really afford to miss out. You need to go after all of them that are on your list. So our step 1 is we filter our list down to the ones that are going to be the age we want, the price we want, in the neighborhoods we want. Again, if you're on the free trial, you don't filter because someone else would take that list of 35 and filter it down to 10 or 20 anyway, right? So it's like your list is already filtered at random, so that's what you're going to take. So in here, then after we hit view all, we can then download to a spreadsheet. We can see it on a map. We can download to a PDF. Lots of different versions of that data. We log into PropHawk. So PropHawk is our other piece of software where now you can take your same email address from your free trial and you're going to be able to log in. So this is our other way to see the data. And this is PropHawk, so prophawk.com. And the reason we like this is it takes your list and what I like to say is it just makes it come to life a little bit more. So now I'm going to choose October. I'm going to choose all counties. I should only have access to Austin. So Travis, so it shows, here's the 7 I have access to, and here's the other one. So now you can click on the list and see the property. You can click on the next property as you scroll down. I'll try Rodriguez Road. I'll click on Jester Boulevard. I can see the house there. I can see the information. And so when we look at that, we go, here's 6701 Jester Boulevard in Austin. So we have on here, it was originally a $578,000 loan, single family residential. Tax value is $992,000 is the assessed value. So that's a big house, right? That's a $1 million house. The first step that I tell people too when filtering now, when you're using PropHawk, is you're going to click house by house and decide if it's a good one or if it's a bad one. If you're on a free trial, I recommend that almost everything is going to be a good one because you don't want to miss out on your list. If you're on the big list, you click through each of them. So you just go through and you click here and go, okay, this is a big, nice house, big neighborhood. I think there's going to be equity in there. I like that house. I would click heart, and that makes it a favorite. It says selected property added to favorite. Next, I go to the next one, Turner. So this is a house, looks like a large lot. It shows it here. 123,000 was the original loan on it. 101,000. I can look in here and say tax value is 268. Looks like there's a lot of equity in there. I'm going to leave that one on the list. And so then I hit heart and I turn that one, another one of my favorites. And I just keep going down the list. There's another house. Now let's say it backed up to something that said no matter what, you don't want to buy it. Might back up to, I bought a house once that was backed up to a sewage treatment plant, and the backyard always smelled, and I wish I wouldn't have bought that. This one looks like there's an office behind it. Maybe you say, hey, it's a rental, you don't want to have someone with an office behind it. If you are going to keep it, you keep it on your favorites, you click heart. If it's not on your favorites, you click this little frowny face here, and you would say take it off my list. So just for for this one, I'll actually keep this one as a heart, but I'll find one that I'll end up taking off my list for one reason or another. So as I keep clicking down, here's another property, Waymaker. I'll say okay. I'm just making it a heart. Next one is Torres Street. So I look at that one, I'll say okay, I give that one a heart. Chester Boulevard, big nice house, but let's say I know I'm not going to be able to afford that one. And so as I go to that one, I'm going to actually put the frowny face, which says I don't want to see this in my filter. The reason we would do that too when you're getting started, you have access to multiple months. So some people, if they're going to go drive houses at that first filter, they're going to say September, October, November, you're going to go drive all the houses so you can door knock, try to buy the houses beforehand. And it could be one that just is a house you don't want to look at. So next month, when you're just looking at November instead of October, you want to have that on there. And I'll put heart for the last one. Now, the reason you do that is because once you pick your favorites, now you can filter and say, I just want to see my favorites. And now they're the only ones on the list. So the first step you do is you go through, you click the properties, you look at them and say, yes, I would like to buy a property in that neighborhood. And you make it a favorite, or no, I absolutely don't want to buy that one. And you take it off. So up here where I said October, you could pick November, December, especially if you have one of our full accounts, you'll be able to see, we have postings right now for November, December, and January in a lot of our counties. So if you're going to go try to buy the house before auction, don't just pick your October auctions, pick your November, December. So now I've got my favorites on here. So that is step one. Step one is I got my properties, I filtered my list. Again, if you're on a free trial, the next step you're going to do is you're going to go drive by each one of these properties. You're going to drive by each one of these properties. You're going to take pictures of it. You're going to leave a note on the property or a door hanger, right? And those sorts of things. So before I keep going, so Curtis, any questions about that? Any things that you want to add to those parts of the process?
Yeah, I think I just to elaborate on there's some symbols like that percentage or that pie, or it's not a pie chart, but the circle percentage indicator and the status, in which right now most of them say waiting to bid, right? So a lot of those that will change as we have updates from trustees. We will update our system with different statuses and stuff like that. So if a trustee cancels, we get notification of that, we're going to put that on our website, and then also as we get opening bids from trustees, we will provide that information. So it's super important to keep checking that and make sure that you've got that information as early as possible, because if you get an opening bid and it's 150,000, you think the property is worth 140,000, probably not worth the time to go drive it and run title and do all that stuff.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Those live updates are such a big deal. So right now they say waiting to bid. By the end of this weekend, some of them are going to say opening bid or canceled, or we've talked to the trustee. And so that's how you'll continue to filter. One of the big games with auction is you want to go after as many houses as you can, but you want to also be as productive as you can. So you do it in order. So that's why first we looked at the pictures to see, are there any we're going to take off our list because they're absolutely horrible. Because once we see them, it's a really small mobile home, and I don't want to. I'm looking for a rental, so I'm not going to have that. Or it's too big of a house. And the other way you're going to see those is by the statuses. So right now, all the statuses say waiting to bid. by next week, we'll see some more updates in that. As we get closer and closer to auction and you're doing your steps, you'll see those change. So now, next thing you can do is you can go and you can download the Roddy's Portfolio Builder app. It's available on Android and iPhone. Roddy's Portfolio Builder. You log in with your same thing, and it comes up to a screen that looks like this. So right now, on my menu here, and it says Add Property You Own, Roddy FLS Auction Bids, Roddy FLS Drive List. I hit that FLS Drive List. I can then select my county. I can select my month, and it shows me my houses that I'm supposed to be driving that are left on my list right now. So I can go on there and it says, all right, here's my, you can kind of see it on there. So there's the ones that I'm supposed to be driving on the list, and I can go back and forth between, completed. You can also see it on a map here. So there we go, where you can see the properties on the map. Click on them, go drive them, and go see the properties. So now I've got my list of properties. I'm going to go drive to them, and I'm going to go take pictures of them. So here I can, and in the app it says, my first one is Highbridge. I go to the picture app, it asks me some questions. I'm going to go ahead and say vacant. I'm going to say take photos, and I can take photos of different things using the app. Okay, you better smile, Curtis. There's Curtis smiling. We have me smiling. And then I will hit done. And I go in there and I can add notes and say, this was just a test. I hit save, and it's going to go ahead and update that status. So now when I go, I'm going to go hit refresh in here. And now you see Highbridge actually has this little car filled in.
Aaron, you need to share your screen.
Oh my gosh, I do need to share my screen. So now I refresh my status, and Highbridge here now lit up. Now I've got a green car that's lit up green. It says my research is 14% done. We've got this little checklist for you. I also already reviewed the aerial. So step one on here, we kind of help you along the way. So the first step I showed you was review the aerial. So I'm going to say that I got that done. And now it says 28.58% of the research is done on this one. I can click on that, and I can see here was the view here. This was this one, but now I can also click through and see the pictures where it says this was just a test on September 18th. It has the pictures that I uploaded. There's Curtis smiling. There's me smiling. And so there's our list, right? So your pictures. So when you're out there, you're going to go to the house. You're going to leave a note on the door saying, hey, I'm interested in buying this house. You're going to knock on the door, try to talk to them. You're going to leave a door hanger on the door. You can order, if you're interested in door hanger, send us a chat. We'll tell you where to order them. You can also order it. So let's say you don't want to go drive them yourself. You could say order pictures on here, and we can either, we have the driver go to the house for you. They'll either go take pictures of it, they'll do a door hanger, or add a note. That note can have your phone number on it. It says, hey, call me. They can just be a yellow sticky note. And so you go through and you want to drive all the houses yourself and then get to come back. Now, after you drive again, I could say, oh my gosh, I drove Turner and it was so bad, the guy chased me off with a gun. I don't want to deal with him anymore. Then you would take some of these and you would like mark them as you no longer like it. All right, so then I'm going to unmark that as a favorite. I'm going to say no. I'm going to unmark that one as a favorite. I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to refresh my list again. And so now I'm down to like my 3, right? So after I drove the houses, there was, 3 of them I didn't like. Now I'm down to my last 3. And you just kind of keep working through your system to see what's to do next. So on here, we say the next thing is you do a property tax check. That's pretty easy to do. So we've got Highridge Drive in Austin. I'll just go Travis County property tax. Now I say it's easy. I haven't done this in Travis County in a while. Let me see if I'm able to actually do that. All right, so I go to my screen here. It says that the previous owners on here are Benny and Nancy J. And so, or it might be a look up by 4305 Highbridge. So let's see which options I have. 4305 Highbridge. Oh no. Did I spell it wrong, Curtis?
I don't think so.
All right, try again. All right. J. Benny. There it is. All right, and there's 43. Oh, Highridge, there was no D in it. So I was spelling it wrong. So here is the property. So you can look up by address, you can use that by owner name, and it'll just say if they owe money or not. So right now it says there's nothing due. There's no base due. There's no penalty due. Sometimes you'll get to see those on there. And you can click into them. And different websites different counties have different sites. So some of them will say this is when it was due last. This is when it was paid last. And Curtis, anything people should be looking for when they're going and checking property taxes?
No, I mean, you want to look for, obviously, the amount due. You want to check them. And then you also want to make sure that you're checking to see if current year's taxes have been paid. Right. So if current year's taxes have not been paid, you're going to owe that. It might not show that, depending on when you are checking. It might not show that as due, though.
Right. So this one says current is not due. But you should but yes, if you buy a house right now that has previously last year's paid and current's due, you'll owe a portion of property taxes for how long you own it, and sometimes for a few months on top of that. So that is, for property taxes, you always want to assume you're going to own it for at least a few months of property taxes. And depending on the time of the year and when taxes are due, you could decide to bid a little bit more or a little bit less based on that. So now I would take this one, and I know the taxes were 0. So I just saw it there. So right here in taxes, I would say 0. Save. Now when I come out here, more of my stuff's done. Well, my property tax check is done. It said I also did these. I'm going to click these off. I didn't do my sales price, construction, or profit yet as we jump in. One of the other things it asks for in there is to do a title review. Now, we did a whole video about how to do title. That's part of our Jumpstart series that we did. People can buy that course if they haven't done it yet. We've done a few free webinars that talk a lot about that. People can also order that. But the long story short with title is you go into the local records department in your county, and you'll search that name, and you're going to try to figure out, is this mortgage a first position deed of trust? Do they have any liens on the property? And like federal tax liens and things like that. So title is its whole deal. We have a whole hour-long training course. We're not going to go into that yet, but that's one of the processes that we have in there. So our next steps are going to be pretty simple. You go through and you're going to figure out what your sales price is, what your construction is, and your profit, and then it's going to put it in there for you. So I'm going to show you guys another video that goes into some detail on that you guys can check out later. But let's just say I think it's worth the tax assessed value of $707,000. And when my guys got there, we took a picture of it, or I went and took a picture of it, I decided I'm going to have to replace the cabinet. I put in construction and profit. I want to make 14% on my money, or for rent, I want an 8% rental return. So I'm going to hit save, and as I refresh it, now it says what's left. I'm going to say yes, I did my title review. So now I'm 100% complete on here, and as I refresh it, now it says the sales price $707, construction and bid is $25,000, rent bid $447. Why isn't my purchase bid filling in, Curtis? I'm going to try that again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't tell. It might be just change that percentage. Sometimes you just got to go back and forth.
Yeah, it's always a bummer when we're doing a webinar and then a bug comes up, but you believe we fix more and more things from that. All right. In theory, your purchase bid should show up there now. I will have that fixed before tomorrow and figure out what happened. But that's how you go through and find it. Now, if you guys want to get some more detail about that process, go to our resources page. And down here, we've got the video vault. This was from our 2-day summit. If you weren't there, you can still get the 5-step foreclosure blueprint for free. An hour and 20 minutes. We go into a lot of detail in that about how to go in and comp properties, how to put the pricing in using those same tools that we just did. So today what we wanted to show you guys is there's a couple different goals we have. Is to have you go in and use the software and see it. Now, what you guys can also see in here is you can order title reports from us. You can order pictures and have drivers do it. You can do it all yourself. But if you're just getting started, the biggest thing you need to do is start. Right? The list is so much smaller right now that you've got 2 options. If you're on a free trial, you're going to go look at those pictures and the map style pictures, the aerial. And you're going to say, hey, is there any of these that I hate that I absolutely don't want to buy? And really, if you're new, I would tell you not to take anything off unless you're totally scared to go to that house, because even these big ones that are $1 million, who knows? They may answer the door when you knock, and that your first wholesale deal may be $1 million house. right? So you're going to go through and say, hey, are there any of these that I don't want to go drive to and go see? And then you're going to just go get in your car and go. So this weekend, like right now, you can look at your list, go choose your favorites, go download the app, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, here they are on the app. Now I can see my pictures. Now I can go drive. Let's go do this, right? So that is step one. So step one is you're going to go get into action, and you're going to figure out which houses that you have, and you're just going to go knock on the door. The funnest thing about that is by Monday, you'll have either driven by 7 houses in foreclosure. That's crazy. That's wild. That is really neat. And the first step, you might have actually also found a couple of vacant ones that were like abandoned with lawns super high that actually look really nice on the inside. You're like, wow, I can't believe this is a foreclosure. You might have a conversation with somebody in there that says, well, I'm interested in selling my house, right? And that question is as simple as, hey, I saw your house was posted for foreclosure. Are you interested in selling it? The most common answer somebody says is, hey, we've already fixed that. It's not foreclosure anymore. And you can go, okay, that's great. That's awesome. Have you thought about selling it anyway? Like, do you have any interest in trying to sell it? So yes, you fixed the foreclosure, but did you know that people are getting multiple offers on houses right now and they're selling for more than ever? Like I could buy this house from you right now. You can move out whenever you want. We could partner on it. I'm an expert at this. I can help you get, there's going to be ways. So go out and have a conversation with somebody, and then you're going to come back and you're going to price some things out. Watch my other video, show you how to price stuff, how to do constructions, come up with bids for your 7 properties, and then you're going to show up for auction. The biggest thing of this Jumpstart is how do you make sure that you get value out of your list? And how do you make sure that you actually make something happen? And so the lists are not big enough to really overcomplicate it right now. Get your list. If you're on the free trial, you're going to go drive by all of them this weekend. Take pictures with the app so you can store the pictures. Leave a note that says, hey, I'm interested in buying your house. If you're on a list and there's 35 houses in Austin, I might tell you go drive all 35 of them. But if not, you took maybe 10 of them off the list when you were going through and clicking your favorites or not. Now you've got 25 houses to go. Go drive those 25 houses this weekend. You can drive 25 houses in 6 or 7 hours. It's a lot of fun. All of us that got really big in foreclosures, we did all of that ourselves for the longest time, going and driving houses. I still get a kick out of it when I drive up to the house and I see a vacant house because I'm really curious about what does it look like in there. And yeah, and just get started. I see Zach saying he totally agrees with us. Zach is one of our members. He's been super successful out there and going to make deals happen. And really, we just want people to get started. Curtis, what am I forgetting? What am I missing?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would add to that is, like, Aaron talked a lot about the short term. Like, today you're going to get our list, you're going to review it. This weekend you're going to drive. Even if you don't plan on buying at the auction, or if you think that you're just going to buy stuff pre-foreclosure, I would encourage you to get ready to go to the auction, right? So you've got 18, 19 days before the October auction. I'd encourage you to plan and get a plan ready to go. We have a lot of videos in our video vault on our Facebook and YouTube page of Paul and I talking about the process of the auction. If you've never been to an auction before, don't make the first time you go to the auction like the first time you're going to bid, right? It's not complicated, but there's a lot to take in, and if you've been once before, it'll make you feel more comfortable. I would also say price everything out, and then when you go to auction, figure out and then you will see actually hey, would I have got that property? Would I have not got it? Based on your bids. And so it gives you a little bit more confidence and prep for the upcoming auctions when you do get ready to start bidding.
Yeah, I attended auction a dozen times before I bid on my first house. Now that was out in California and they were doing auctions every day. So I might add a little bit more time, but right now we have it once a month out in Texas, but there's nothing wrong with going and saying, hey, in the next couple months, you're going to be ready, but don't ever miss a month, right? If you want to get into this business, you cannot afford to miss an auction. Even if you're not going to bid today, you need to go learn, you need to go watch, you need to go see what happens, go see which ones sell or not, which ones on your list went to sale, which ones did you drive by? Even if you're not ready all the way, you might go, oh, that's that vacant house. I can't believe it sold for that. People also use our struck off list. We call it the struck off list. Those are the houses that sold and how much they sold for. You can look at last month's results and really be able to see would I have bought that one or not? Is there a lot of competition there? Did that sell for a lot of money or not very much money? That'll help you choose your strategy too. So again, at the beginning, the idea was choose your strategy. You're going to buy at auction or buy before. The second thing is you're going to look at the regular market statistics. Are you in a buyer's market or seller's market? 95% of the Texas markets right now are hot sellers markets. Very safe place to be able to, safe is the wrong word. An area where if you put a house on the market right now, you've got a lot of people that are interested in it. Investing is always risky, and the using safe is the wrong word, but you want to minimize your risk as much as possible. Then you figure out buying before auction or not. Then you go out and do the same thing. No matter what, whether you're going to buy auction before auction or buy after auction, you're going to also, I don't mention it, you send a letter, right? I send letters to people. PropHawk, you can actually do a mail merge on there, or you can write yourself. I send a letter saying, hey, I want to buy your property. Then you go to the property, you do a door hanger, you knock, you try to communicate, and you take pictures. Doing that no matter what. After that, you come back and look at your pictures and say, okay, are there any I'm taking off my list now? Who chased me off with a gun? Okay, I'm going to take that one off my list. Which house was awesome? I put that on my list. Now you look closer, you price them, you comp them. We've got a whole other video for that. But don't think that far ahead. This weekend, you are going to look at your list, figure out the ones, and go drive by all of them. And even if you don't have a door hanger yet, you don't have a letter, you know what to say, bring a yellow sticky note, the yellow sticky pad, and if nobody answers and you like the house, say, I want to buy your house. Please call me. Put your phone number on it, put it on the front door, and that can be as simple as it takes to make that first effort. And then next week when you come back to the office, you can start looking at what's next. But it's most important to get into action and go find something.
Awesome. I think you hit it all.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We hope you're really liking the use of our software and the use of the options that we have out there. Curtis and I, we love auctions. We love real estate. We love being able to try to help you guys. As most of you know, if you have any questions at all throughout the day, you can always hit the chat at the FLS website when you're looking at that chat. And if you didn't know, we have so many different services now too, right? So we used to be a company that was just data. And our big slogan right now is we are not just data, right? We will tell you, we'll give you a list of foreclosures, but we'll also help you. You can do it yourself, or we can help you drive them. We can help you with title. We can help you with comping. We have bidding services where people want to be at 2 counties at the same time. They'll pay our Roddy workers to go bid at different counties. We have auction financing, which we're just launching, where people can go ahead and get checks from us to go bid at auction. There's all sorts of different things that we do. Eviction services, construction services. Not only do we want you to be successful at this real estate business, we don't want you to be alone. We don't want you to feel like you're doing this alone. If there is something that happens in this transaction, we can help you, right? Somebody on our team will help you, and we want to make this as close to a turnkey kind of offering as we can. So Curtis, did anything I forgot on our extra services?
No, I think, we're here from the start, from the underwriting to the acquisition, and then also when you're getting ready to sell it. So, and if you have questions, even if you're not in the market that we're covering some of those services, feel free to reach out. We want to help you anywhere you are, and we want to help you be successful in real estate.
Yeah. So, I would love to see if you guys go out this weekend and you drive those houses. Email us. Tell us you did. Go on the chat and say, hey, I went and drove my first house this weekend, and this is what I thought. And then you can even ask us, so what's next? I went and drove my house, I did this. What's next? All right, guys. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Thanks, guys.